Today we're going to have a look at crate training, how it should be done and what the benefits are. When I first heard about crate training, it was probably about 20 years ago, I thought it was horrible. I thought, why on earth would you want to put a dog into this small little cage? It just seems cruel, it seems inhumane to me. Then I started going to dog shows. And what I found at dog shows is my dogs were really well behaved. They were staying underneath my shaded gazebo, minding their own business. I obviously made sure that they were secured. I normally had a benching stake that I would hammer into the ground, clip a lead onto that, and I would never leave my dogs unsupervised. And they were really good. They would lie there under my gazebo on their blankie, having a nice chill day. But I constantly had a problem with other people's dogs coming into our space, and that's not really fair. You know, when a dog's lying on their blankie or on their bed in their safe space to be intruded upon by these other dogs who are not always really friendly, and I just got fed up of just always feeling like I had to be on red alert watching out for other people's dogs. So I decided, let's try a crate. And obviously, having Great Danes, I needed a really big crate and I needed something that I could transport. So I got for myself one of those wire crates that actually collapses down into quite a relatively small, takes up a fairly large area space, but you can collapse it down, slide it into your car, you can pack other stuff on top of it. And I started taking this along to shows. What a pleasure. I obviously made sure that my dogs were well accustomed to the crate. It was never ever used as a punishment for them. It was nice and comfy inside. They had their blankie, they had their water. On hot days, I even hooked up a little fan onto the crate so they had a nice breeze blowing through. And it was just so nice. I didn't have to worry about other people's dogs anymore. I knew my dogs were completely safe. There was nothing for me to worry about. And my dogs knew as well. They were in the safe space. They didn't have to stress about other dogs coming around them or getting into their face. I then started using the crates at home. For example, if I had a new puppy for house training, it was great. If I couldn't directly supervise the pup, for example, if I was making dinner or something like that, yes, I do occasionally cook, very occasionally, I would pop the puppy into the crate with a nice chewy, so the pup never felt like it was being punished, but then I knew that I didn't have to worry about that pup toileting in the house or chewing something that they shouldn't be chewing. I knew that the pup was in a safe. If you do this properly, the dogs just do not see the crate as being any kind of punishment. They see it as their haven, their little magical den. I don't know why it's magical. It's magical, I guess, because it produces chewies. It's always got a nice fresh blankie in it. It moves from place to place. So that's why it would be magical. They see their crate as a den. They see it as a safe spot where it's wonderful. It's always got a nice soft bed in it. It's often got chewies in it. And it's a nice, calm, relaxing place for them to be. You've obviously got to have rules about the crates, especially if you've got children in the house, that when the dog is in the crate, they are off limits. Kids should not be sticking arms or anything into crates or going into a dog's crate. That is the dog's place. I found crates especially useful in dealing with dogs that are scared of thunder or fireworks. I've had 2 dogs who've had this phobia, and as much as you try to desensitize them, you cannot possibly hope to replicate thunder specifically. Fireworks to an extent, yeah, there's quite a bit you can do, but thunder, there's so much that goes on. It's not just the noise, it's also the barometric pressure, it's the atmospheric conditions. There's so much going on that a lot of dealing with a dog with a thunder phobia comes down to good management. I have a 50 kilogram plus dog, a Great Dane, who has a serious thunder phobia. Now, when a dog that size freaks out, physically there's very little you can do. And don't think you can go, oh, well, the dog's trained, I'll just tell it to sit. The dog is in a high emotional state. At that point in time, they're not thinking about their obedience commands. They're just thinking that, wow, I'm terrified, my life is going to end, I need to get out of here. And that's where a crate is incredibly helpful. If you've crate trained your dog properly, they will see that crate as a safe space during a time when they're feeling very anxious and nervous. They can go into the crate. You can actually close the crate for safety's sake. You can be around with them, but not on top of them. So they're getting some security from you, but they're also learning kind of how to deal with it by themselves a little bit, which is important. When we address any fear with a dog, we obviously want to support them, but we don't want to make them overly reliant on us, because then we're not really helping them deal with the problem. We're just providing a huge crutch, which can't always be there. My dog that is scared of thunder, and yes, it's the magical Joni, the unicorn, whenever there's a storm brewing, she goes into her crate. She actually goes into her crate on her own now, and I'll close the door and I put a thick blankie over for her so that it muffles the sound a little bit, and she just feels secure and safe in that little space. I can still see that she's a little bit stressed out, but she's a lot less stressed out than she would be if she was in the house or if she was moving around. If she's not in her crate when there's a storm happening, she tends to be incredibly restless, going from one room to the next, on the bed, off the bed, all over the show, and I really worry about her in those times. It's much better for her if she's in that crate. She's safe, secure, and she can actually just relax and just ride through the storm. How do you properly crate train a dog? Well, first of all, you never ever use it as a form of punishment. If the dog has done something wrong, whatever it is, putting them in their crate, it's totally counterproductive. All you're going to do is make the dog resent the crate, and that's the last thing we want. The crate should be a source of good stuff for the dog. Today I'm going to show you with a little dog that I have, Ripley. Ripley is a 4-year-old rescue. She's probably the naughtiest dog I've ever had. And poor Ripley, the day that I went to go fetch her, I wasn't thinking the situation through properly. I was on my own, and I obviously went with a crate because that's, again, a lovely, safe way for dogs to travel in a car. I went with a crate, and I got there, and I just kind of assumed she was crate trained, but obviously she wasn't. And now I had to put this poor dog in the crate. I didn't have an option. I didn't have someone to hold her while I drove home, and it was a fairly long journey. So I had to just put her in the crate, close the door. Well, by the time we got home, all hell had broken loose in that crate. Ripley had peed, pooed, and vomited in the crate in that short trip home. Again, a nice thing with a plastic crate is really easy to clean out. I cleaned it out. I left her alone. I didn't do any crate training for the next day or two. I thought she's probably had enough to deal with already. And then we started with the crate training. And basically, how you do it is you just pop some treats just at the entrance of the crate. We're not going to ask the dog to do too much. We're just going to ask them to do little bits. We could set them up for success, let them do what they can, and then gradually extend it. When Ripley was happily putting her whole body into the crate, I started dropping the treats in from the back of the crate. And we basically just extended that. And it's got to the point now where no matter where I am, I can say to Ripley, and I can actually hear her barking in the background. She knows she's about to make her debut. I can say to her, "Where's your house?" "In your house." And that's kind of become my phrase for all of the dogs. When I would like them to go into their crate, I say to them, "In your house," and whoops, they go and jump into their crate. And she'll even open the door to get in. And she really likes her crate now. So she's gone from thinking the crate is the absolute worst thing to exist to enjoying her crate, appreciating her crate. And I use it extensively with her during training as well. We'll do a little agility run, and then while I'm still on the field, I'll say to her, "In your house," and she'll run through all the other dogs and people to go find her crate and jump into it, and she'll get rewarded in her crate. Okay, so this is how we introduce the dogs to crate training. Obviously that crate is not the right size for Joni. We're going to find a suitable inhabitant. Puppies? Pups? Get puppies. Good girl. Nice. Okay, so how we start off with the crate training is we actually take the door off. Good. Puppies? And then what you're going to do... Puppies are kind of defeating the game here. Puppies, come. Good girl. What you're going to do is literally just put some treats near the entrance of the crate. There we go. There's another one there. Now we can pop one in. Good. And what you can do with your dogs that are not used to the crates is just pop the treats at the front of the crate. You don't have to, Pups, come. You don't have to put it right at the back. Obviously, Ripley's quite used to this. So... she's quite happy to go into the crate even if there isn't a treat immediately there. Yes, you're very good. There. Good girl. So once the dog's happily going into the crate, what you can start doing then is actually start delivering the treat through the side or even the back of the crate. That's really good for the dog to learn that the crate is a magical place and not necessarily you. I don't know if Ripley's figured out that there's treats that are coming through there. Good girl. Puppies, come out. Good girl. Let's have a look from this angle. Puppies, in your house. Whoops, there you go. Good girl. And then I can just pop her little treats from the side. There you go. Nice pups. And it looks like we have another gate crasher on set. Good. Okay. Good girl. Right. Now once the dog is comfortable doing that, you can actually introduce the door. Okay. Do it open in your house. Barney? Barney, on the bed. No, it's here. Don't. You're not being the world's smartest dog, are you? In your house. Good girl. Good. And this is a great way to train dogs because, I mean, this is real life. This is what happens. You don't get to train your dogs in a nice, neat little sterile vacuum. Good girl, pups. Good. And then you can start spending a little bit of time with the door closed. Good job. What you can even do is when you close the door, you can increase the frequency of reward. So the dog almost says to you, please close the door. Okay. And Pippi's has now got to the point where she'll actually open the door to go in. Pippi's, in your house. Oh, good girl. Good job, Pips. Good job. Practicing short bits where the dog is in the crate, you go away, you come back is super. Again, reward the dog. That one's a little bit too big to go through the side. Reward the dog for staying in the crate. There's no need to give them any physical praise for this. You can just pop a little treat in. Remember, the idea here is to create an idea that the crate is a magical place. Nice thing to do with them. Okay, puppies, out. Good girl. Is to actually tether a chewy, sort of tie it to the side or the back of the crate. Tether a chewy inside there so the dog can't take the chewy out of the crate. They can only have the chewy inside of the crate. That's a good way to get them used to the idea that the crate is a really nice place to be. Let's have Puppy show us one more time. Puppies, come in your house. In your house. Good girl. Oh, what a clever girl. Good job, Pips. Very nice. Good girl. There's your sweetie. Good girl. Good girl. And I guess you need a sweetie too for being a good girl. Bernie's just supervising this. So obviously the crate size must be relevant to the size of the dog. You want the crate to be just big enough for the dog to basically go in, turn around, lie down and sleep or relax. Pippies, come. So let's have a look, see at Pippi's next to her crate. You can see that's the approximate size of the crate. Good girl. You're not making this easy. Come. No, it's closed now. Come here. Come. Someone's really crazy about her crate. Okay. Good. She just wants to go in her crate. Okay. In your house. In your house. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. So in summary, a crate can be an amazingly good management tool for dogs that have sound phobias. Gives them a really nice safe space that they can go to whenever they feel the need. Can be brilliant for helping you with a young puppy or a new dog when you can't directly supervise them and you need to make sure that they're not getting up to anything that you don't want them to get up to. So in other words, it's a tool in helping to set your dog up for success. It should never, ever, ever be used as a form of punishment. A dog could spend an evening in the crate, sort of while you're sleeping, but I would suggest just before you go to bed, taking them out for toilet. With a young puppy, perhaps waking up in the middle of the night, taking them out for toilet. Dogs are unlikely to toilet in the crate. That's why it's so important that you take them out. And also, it's a relatively small space. You can't expect them to stay in there for very long periods of time. But done properly, used properly, crates can be a wonderful, wonderful asset for both dog and for owner. I don't even know where the magical comes from, but you get where I'm saying. They really, wow, you get where I'm saying.